Welcome to another episode of
The Epic Family Road Trip.
Last week's episode, we left the motorhome behind, jumped into our Jeep trailer with our 2 rooftop tents, and we headed south. Now we left Oregon and we went through Nevada on our way to Arizona.
Oh Lord, I see what brings me here. It's a mother to all my wandering. The valleys green will age with me. Its dirt will shine and linger. And girls will come in festive clothes, and the boys will wait a gazing, and birds will sing from tops of trees.
Good morning from Winnemucca, Nevada. We're way up in the mountains. We got some snow, not a lot, but you can see snow on the ground back there and up on the tent. It was quite chilly, but we were warming our rooftop tents back there, and we're just making some coffee, and we're gonna keep heading south. Our goal is to get down to Flagstaff within the next couple of days. And but yesterday we crossed through some really barren, beautiful rangeland in southeastern Oregon, and ended up here. Now this little spot, if you're ever in Winnemucca, you drive just outside of town, and there's a little camp here in the valley, and they've carved out a few spots. There's about 5 or 6 spots right along a little creek that's just babbling through, and if you go up that little roadway a little bit, it comes to the end, and there's some beautiful hiking trails into a canyon. It's just an amazing spot. It was really quiet last night. We're out here all by ourselves, and it's just gorgeous views, beautiful scenery, and a place you should definitely check out. You could possibly park a small RV here, but it's really designed for tent camping.
Oh, mothers, I see you hold all the fruits of our love, and we'll raise them high. They'll touch the sky. We'll walk and work this earth.
Good morning. We're here in a place called Stralen, Nevada. We came into a RV camp for the night. Nice and noisy beside the road here, but we set up here so we could get good enough Wi-Fi to upload our Baja video last night and get some water and things like that. So we are trying to stay in the wilderness most of the time, but once in a while, maybe once a week or so, makes sense to come in and kind of restock on everything. So that's what we did last night, and now we're heading back into down the road, and then trying to find a camp spot in the wilderness somewhere. So that's the plan. Just drove through the world's largest ammunition depot, U.S. Army. This whole basin here is just full of buildings. And now on this side you see underground bunkers with little chimneys. I wonder what's down there. after our first week, you might be wondering how we're doing. So we're going to give you some feedback on how it's going. So we did this for 6 months in New Zealand with pretty much the same configuration. We had the same Jeep. We had a slightly different trailer. We actually have more capacity now, and we have the rooftop tents. But it's a lot different this time for a couple of reasons. One, the kids are a lot older and bigger, and so we're losing space in the back of the Jeep for sure. In fact, we've outgrown that setup. Food capacity.
Yeah, that's a huge one. Now they eat probably 3 to 5 times more, and we had 2 coolers with our fridge in New Zealand, and now we just have the one and the fridge, which is okay. But I mean, if you're going to be out in BLM land or going out some trails that are like a week long or more, that's when it becomes kind of an issue, and that's when we started noticing like, ooh, like this is a lot tighter than 3 years ago.
So we definitely need that. We left the other cooler in the motorhome, and if we were to get back there again, we'd definitely take both coolers. So if you have 5 people like we do, and your kids are full-aged teenagers, food capacity is a big deal. So make sure you have enough. We have the 50 cubic yard, or what is it called? It's a 50 quart ARB fridge, which is really nice. It's a big fridge, but anyway, we put all our veg in there and things that need to be kept cool. We put our meat down at the bottom, so it's actually a freezer down there. So the coolers come in really handy. So that's number 1. Number 2 is we always travel with so much sports gear. We're not just going for the sake of driving. Our Jeep gets us to the places where we can do our activities. So we have the 5 mountain bikes on the back, and this time we decided to pack all of our hiking gear. In hindsight, we probably could have left one or the other, or chosen one or the other.
Yeah, I think moving forward, we're going to pick one sport, and that because we can always rent, surfboards or bikes or whatever. So, yeah, we're rethinking everything, especially if we're like looking at, say, Europe or other big trips. I think renting is going to be number 1 on our things to do.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, if we're covering a lot of ground, that needs to be what you consider if you're planning your road trip. If you're covering a lot of ground, you probably don't have that much time to stop and mountain bike. So maybe don't bring the mountain bikes. If you get to a real mountain bike destination, you could rent them. So that would have freed up a lot of space for us and a lot of weight.
Yeah, weight is a huge issue now. Like, I mean, there's a noticeable difference between the 3 years ago in New Zealand to this time around. And I'm so glad that we're doing this trip just to get the feel of the Jeep now with the 3 kids, and then to look at what are our options. Do we want to keep the RV, or do we want to go to 2 vehicles now that the kids, have license and, they can kind of spread their wings a little bit too. So I don't know. It's a lot to think about.
I'm thinking the 2 vehicle option is probably the best way to go. Get a Gladiator or something along those lines. Then
I can drive the Gladiator, and you can drive it.
Exactly. Then you have a recovery vehicle as well. So the thing, when you're planning a trip, you got to consider what it's going to be about, what you're going to be doing. Are you doing a lot of sports? Then think about bringing your gear. If you're more covering a lot of ground, you might not need to carry as much. So that's one consideration. The other thing is we put into a camp at least about once a week. We have to get somewhere where there's Wi-Fi to upload our videos so that you guys can enjoy another adventure. And usually we want to stop somewhere where we can do laundry and take a hot shower. Even though we can do all of that on the like out in the field, we have these pressurized water kits that we can actually take a shower and all that kind of stuff. So we're geared up to do that, but it's a nice luxury to have a camp once a week or so to put into. So that's something you probably would consider for your road trip, no matter what country you're in. But like you said earlier, this little 2-month excursion is such a great retraining ground for us. Everything's different than New Zealand, which was amazing, and we did 6 months, and we were geared up perfectly for that, but we're a little different configuration now. And this is kind of our training grounds for going abroad if we're fortunate enough to be able to do that. If you ask the kids, Africa's on the list, Australia's on the list, Europe's on the list. it'd be awesome to go to all these places, and we're in the early stages of planning. But this little excursion is where we're seeing what we need, what we don't need. So we'll keep you informed so that when you plan your big epic family road trip, you'll be able to take the right gear and, even more importantly, leave behind what you don't need.
Yeah, because this one is like we came from winter, and then we're kind of going into, like, today was what, 100 degrees,
Yeah.
and then we're going to be going back up to where it might be just what
Like
that?
32 at night.
Yeah, so-
Getting up in the mountains where there's still snow.
So we do have to carry clothing for all of that with, times 5, and that's fine. It's just, yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot of calculation going on.
Yeah.
So, but it's exciting, and yeah.
We're having fun. So to summarize the first week adventure, we absolutely love this lifestyle. We love getting out on remote places. There's nobody else around. You're not in a campground. You're just setting up your tents and listening to the coyotes and the sounds of the wilderness. That is our favorite thing to do. And so we're having a lot of fun. We're enjoying every single minute of it, and we hope to do a lot more of it.
Hope you enjoyed this week's video. Make sure you stay tuned for new adventures each week. Thank you to all the patrons of our channel and for all your continued support. If you want to help support the Epic Family Road Trip, head to patreon.com/epicfamilyroadtrip.
And in the meantime,
We'll see you down the road.